Is one of, I don't want to say the number, it's countless numbers. Every night I get an update on this of the threats to our federal money on everything we do. Because look, right now it's very clear. The entire federal government is weaponized against Minnesota. And the issues of things that should be states' rights, states to control, they're threatening us with this. And this is what happens when you have a floundering presidency and it is about those ballrooms and everything else. Now we're back on transgender folks. And these are healthcare providers providing the best guidance to parents and children to get their care. So we're assessing what it means. It's on every front. It's CDLs, it's transportation money, it's money across the board that they have weaponized. So.
Welcome back, Patriots, to another crucial episode of Harlan Reports. I am so glad you are here with me today. Before we get into this bombshell story, I need you to do me a big favor. Please hit that like button, subscribe to the channel, and share this video with everyone you know. We need to spread the truth faster than the mainstream media can hide it. The story I am about to share is huge. It is the moment we have all been praying for. Tim Walz, the governor of Minnesota, is in big trouble, and you need to hear exactly what is happening right now. This is a victory for every single American who loves this country. So please, help us grow this movement and let the world know that we are awake and we are watching. Thank you for your support. Now let's get into the news that is changing history.
The Department of Health and Human Services froze $185 million for childcare in Minnesota and created new verification requirements for businesses to be able to be reimbursed. Despite the claims of widespread fraud, though, that has allegedly been allowed to go on for years, Minnesota Democrats are criticizing the president for this temporary pause.
We're taking fraud seriously. We're working every day to improve our systems, hold those criminals accountable, and move our state forward. That's why it's
Governor Walz and the Attorney General Keith Ellison, they knew about this fraud and did nothing to stop it. Furthermore, the Walz administration was intimidating whistleblowers who work for the state of Minnesota, who work in the Department of Human Services in that department, and they were intimidating these witnesses, threatening their careers to stop them from coming forward. That's one. The second is the fact that when all these remittances leave Minnesota and go back to Somalia, they go through this money exchange network called the Hanwala Network, and it is based upon other reports that we have. Al-Shabaab, the largest al-Qaeda affiliate in Somalia, and other terrorist organizations have access to that network. We know money's fungible, so it's pretty clear to see that these dollars going back overseas could in fact end up in the hands of foreign terrorist organizations, including the largest al-Qaeda affiliate in Somalia. That's damning. Governor Walz had a responsibility to put a stop to this. Not only did he not put a stop to it, he intimidated people who were trying to put a stop to it.
Yeah, Congressman, I mean, given what you've just said and what you've seen, would you support the House sending a criminal referral on Governor Walz or Attorney General Keith Ellison over to the Justice Department over what you guys have exposed happening in Minnesota?
I would, and I think there's more investigation the House is going to do in this. The Vice President made an announcement yesterday, Vice President Vance, about there is going to be a new appointment made at the Department of Justice to dig into fraud in these social welfare programs all across the United States, and I support what the administration is doing. But we're going to continue our investigation, but I will fully support, based upon the hearing we had yesterday, other information we've already collected, and there's still more work to be done.
Good evening, folks. This is Harlan here, coming to you live from the heart of America, where the truth still matters, and the fight for our great nation never stops. I have to tell you, I have been sitting in this chair for what feels like a lifetime, watching the ups and downs of our beautiful country. But moments like this one right now, they are the ones that make every struggle worth it. I have tears in my eyes just thinking about it. We are talking about a story that is unfolding this very second, and it is shaking the ground beneath our feet. Tim Walz, the governor of Minnesota, thought he could just stay in power forever. He thought he could dig his heels in and refuse to step down no matter what the people wanted. But hold on tight, because everything just changed. In a move that has shocked the political world, the USDA has officially slammed the door shut on all financial aid to his state. They have cut off every last penny. And if that wasn't enough, We are hearing reports that the Department of Justice is getting ready to arrest him. Can you believe it? No money, no escape. Walz is backed into a corner and the walls are closing in fast. This is all thanks to the brave, bold leadership of President Donald J. Trump. This just happened, folks, and it is a massive win for America First values. I am trying to keep my voice steady, but my heart is pounding. This isn't just news. This is a turning point for everyday Americans like you and me who have waited so long for justice. Picture this. It is early 2026, and President Trump is back in the White House where he belongs, fixing the mess and cleaning house. Walz has been clinging to his governor's seat like a stubborn child holding onto a toy. He doesn't deserve. He flat out refused to resign. He thought he was untouchable. He thought the old rules didn't apply to him. But he made a big mistake. The USDA, under Trump's strong administration, didn't waste a single second. They suspended every single financial award headed to the Minnesota state government. We are talking about billions of dollars that he used to control the narrative. All of it gone in a flash. It feels like a heavy weight is finally being lifted off our shoulders. For so long, we watched leaders act like they were kings, ignoring the will of the people. But today, the message is loud and clear. Nobody is above the law. President Trump is doing exactly what he promised. He is draining the swamp, and he is starting right at the top. When I heard the news, I just sat here and wept. I wept for our country, for the future of our children, and for the relief of knowing that the good guys are finally winning. Walz has no funds to fight back. He has no support from the federal government. It is like watching a house of cards tumble down. And it is the most beautiful thing I have ever seen because it means accountability is back in America. Stay with me because this is just the beginning.
We're also trying to stop new money from going out at the same time as the investigation. So, for example, at the beginning of December, Dr. Oz sent an excellent letter to Governor Walz demanding a corrective action plan on Medicaid fraud. The state just finally delivered the plan a couple of days ago, and we're reviewing it. We are not going to spend money on Minnesota until we are confident there is no fraud. We are doing something similar, as you said, on child care, demanding receipts. We are going to make sure that the state of Minnesota and Governor Walz is held accountable for ensuring that there is no fraud, both looking backwards and looking forwards.
Crackdown in Minnesota over potential fraud is ramping up on multiple fronts now. Not only do you have DHS and FBI agents on the ground, but the Small Business Administration is now halting all federal funding to the state after identifying $430 million in PPP loans in Minnesota that are suspected of fraud. As we've been reporting, these concerns over fraud, particularly in the child care space in Minneapolis, go back more than a decade, including these surveillance videos that were part of a case prosecuted by Hennepin County back in 2015. The video shows parents checking their kids into a daycare and then walking back out with them minutes later. Our Minneapolis Fox station reported that sometimes the kids wouldn't even show up, and that either way, the businesses would bill the state for a full day of services. This other video shows parents then allegedly receiving envelopes of cash as kickbacks from the owners. The state is responding to these latest allegations of fraud at child care centers, claiming that it's already investigated many of the businesses in Nick Shirley's viral video.
So there have been ongoing investigations with several of those centers. None of those investigations uncovered findings of fraud. One of the centers, Quality Learning Center, closed just over a week ago.
With those claims is that the manager of the Quality Learning Center says they never closed, and they are even open now, and that the state agency was putting out false information. All of this is raising more questions about the credibility of the state agencies who are supposed to be overseeing these programs that are now being investigated.
The fundamental problem here is that we have a governor and an administration that has totally broken its trust with the people of Minnesota. So it's very difficult for any Minnesotan, and it's very difficult for us to take at face value anything that the Walz administration says on this topic.
As all of these investigations continue, Attorney General Pam Bondi says the Justice Department has now charged 98 individuals in Minnesota with fraud. 85 of them are Somalis. And she says more prosecutions are on the way. Molly?
Garrett Tenney, thank you. Bill?
Molly, for more.
We need to really understand what this USDA freeze means, because it is not just numbers on a page. It is a loud message. For years, folks like Tim Walz thought the federal government was just a big piggy bank they could smash open whenever they wanted to pay for their own plans. But President Trump, he sees things differently. He knows that money is your money. It belongs to the hardworking people of this country, not to politicians who think they know better than us. When the news broke that the USDA was freezing these funds, I felt a shiver go down my spine. It was the feeling of justice finally arriving. Think about the farmers in Minnesota right now. These are the people who wake up before the sun comes up. They worked the land with their own two hands to feed our nation for too long. They have watched their state leaders ignore their values while taking federal cash. Now, with this freeze, the system is getting a shock to the heart. It might feel scary for a moment. Sure, big changes always are, but deep down, we know it is necessary. It is like when a doctor has to fix a broken bone. It hurts at first, but it is the only way to heal properly. President Trump is doing the hard work that no one else was brave enough to do. He is stopping the money from going to the wrong people so that it can eventually go to the people who actually deserve it. I want you to imagine the panic in the governor's office right now. For the first time, they are realizing that the free ride is over. They cannot just rely on handouts while ignoring the rules. The silence from the federal government must be scary to them. But to us, it sounds like freedom. It sounds like a promise kept. I can almost see the look on their faces as they realize that the American people, led by President Trump, are finally taking charge. This is not about hurting Minnesota. It is about saving it. It is about making sure that every dollar spent actually helps the families, the schools, and the towns that make America great. It makes me tear up just thinking about the courage it takes to make a decision this big. President Trump is standing tall against the storm, protecting us, and ensuring that our future is built on solid ground, not on the shaky plans of politicians. Stay tuned, because as we dig deeper, you will see just how deep this story goes. If losing the money was a punch to the gut, what is happening now is a total knockout blow. We just talked about the cash flow stopping, but money is one thing, freedom is another. And right now, Tim Walz is realizing that his freedom is on the line. I have to pause for a second because this is heavy. It is the kind of news that makes you stop whatever you are doing and just listen. The Department of Justice, the top law enforcement in the land, is not just watching anymore. They are moving. Sources are telling us that federal agents are preparing an arrest warrant. Just think about that. The governor of a state, a man who thought he was the boss of everyone, is now waiting for a knock on the door that he cannot ignore. For years, we watched politicians do whatever they wanted, breaking rules that you and I would go to jail for. It made us feel small. It made us feel like the game was rigged. But today, the game is fair again. President Trump has brought back the rule of law, and it is sweeping through this country like a cleansing rain. I can picture Walz right now in the governor's mansion. The phones are probably ringing off the hook, but who's going to help him? The federal government has turned its back on his corruption. He is alone. And that feeling of being alone, of knowing that you have to answer for what you did, that is what true justice feels like. It isn't about being mean. It is about being right. It is about showing every little boy and girl in America that it doesn't matter how big your title is, if you do wrong, you will face the consequences. My hands are shaking a little bit just holding these papers. It is emotional because we waited so long for this. We pray for a leader who would stand up for us. And looking at this situation, seeing the DOJ step in to protect the people from a leader who lost his way, it brings tears to my eyes. It makes you want to hug your kids a little tighter and tell them, see, good things do happen. The fear is gone. Folks, the bad guys are running scared and the good guys are finally back in charge. But hold on. Because if you think this is intense, wait until you hear how the people of Minnesota are reacting on the ground. The spirit there is changing by the minute. You know, folks, I have to take a moment here because my heart is just overflowing. When we talk about governors and presidents, it can feel like big, distant stuff, but it isn't. It is about your kitchen table. It is about whether you can sleep at night without worrying if your state is going to crumble around you. For the longest time, the good people of Minnesota, families just like yours, felt like they were screaming into the void. They were hurting. They saw their beautiful state being torn apart by bad decisions and a governor who just wouldn't listen. Tim Walz stood there, looking down from his high tower. While regular folks struggle to make ends meet, it makes me want to cry just thinking about how lonely that felt for them. But here's the beautiful part, and this is why I need a tissue right now. They were not alone. President Trump was watching. He saw every tear. He heard every prayer. And he made a promise to fix it today. By cutting off that money and sending in the law, he is keeping that promise. It is like a father stepping in to protect his children from a bully. He is saying, enough is enough. You will not hurt my people anymore. That kind of love for this country, it is rare and it is precious. I want you to think about the relief washing over the state right now. Imagine a mom who was worried her kid's school would turn into a political camp, now knowing that the federal money is only going to support real education, not indoctrination. Imagine the small business owner who thought they would be taxed into oblivion, now seeing the man responsible for their pain being held accountable. It is the feeling of being safe, again. It is the feeling of knowing that the nightmare is finally ending. The tears I am shedding are tears of pure joy, folks, because for a while there, we were scared. We were scared that maybe the bad guys had won for good, but President Trump proved us wrong. He showed us that as long as we have faith and fight for what is right, victory will come. And let me tell you, the fear in Tim Walz's camp is real. The silence from his office is deafening. He knows the clock is ticking. He knows there is nowhere left to hide. The justice that is coming isn't just a legal move. It is a rescue mission. And the best part, we are just getting started. Folks, I want you to close your eyes for a second and just listen. Can you hear it? It is the sound of justice arriving. For years, we have heard stories about money going missing. Money that was supposed to feed hungry kids, money that was supposed to help the sick. They called it feeding our future. But let's be honest, they were just feeding themselves. It makes me sick to my stomach, and I know it makes you sick too. But right now, outside the governor's mansion and all across the state, there is a new sound. It isn't the sound of politicians making excuses. It is the sound of boots on the ground. We are getting reports that thousands of federal agents are moving in. They call it Operation Twin Shield, but I call it the cavalry coming to save the day. These aren't just faceless agents. These are brave men and women sent by President Trump. To scrub the floor clean, I have to wipe my eyes because for the first time in a long time, I feel safe. I feel like the bad guys are finally scared, and they should be. The reports say agents are going door to door, asking the hard questions that Tim Walz and his friends never wanted to answer. Imagine being in that mansion right now. The lights are probably burning late into the night. They can see the flashing lights outside. They know that the Department of Justice isn't playing games anymore. President Trump didn't just freeze the money, he sent in the best people we have to find out where every single penny went. So it is the end of the line. The arrogance, the pride, the feeling that they could just take what they wanted from you. And me, it is all evaporating like mist in the morning sun. I am crying tears of relief, folks, because this proves that no matter how dark it gets, the light always wins in the end. The walls are closing in isn't just a fancy way of speaking anymore. It is real life. Walz is trapped by his own choices, and the truth is standing on his front porch, ready to come in. The people of Minnesota are watching history happen from their living room windows. They are seeing that when President Trump makes a promise to drain the swamp, he brings a really big hose. Stay right there, because what happens next is going to change everything. I have to tell you, the hardest part of this job isn't the long hours. It is hearing the stories of good people who felt like they didn't matter anymore. For years, folks in Minnesota and all across our heartland were screaming for help. They saw their towns changing, their jobs vanishing, and their leaders, like Tim Walz, laughing all the way to the bank. They felt invisible, and that hurts. It hurts deep in your soul when you love your country but feel like your government has turned against you. I am getting choked up just saying it because I know so many of you felt that exact same pain. So you wondered if anyone was even listening. But guess what? Donald Trump was listening. While the media mocked us and the politicians ignored us, President Trump heard every single cry for help. And right now, as those federal agents stand firm in Minnesota, it is proof that you were never forgotten. This moment, with the sirens flashing and the law moving in, is his answer to you. He is saying, I got your back. It is the most beautiful thing I have ever witnessed in all my years of news. It is not just an arrest warrant, it is a love letter to the American people. Think about Mary, a grandmother I spoke to from St. Cloud. She told me she stopped watching the news because it made her too sad. She said she felt like she was losing the country she grew up in. Well, Mary, if you are watching tonight, look at the screen. Look at what is happening. The bad guys are not winning anymore. The corruption is being ripped out by the roots. President Trump is restoring the honor of our nation one state at a time. He is making sure that no politician is ever too big to fail. The fear that used to grip our communities is shifting. It is leaving our homes and going right into the offices of those who betrayed us. They are the ones sweating now. They are the ones pacing the floors, wondering how it all fell apart so fast. But we know the truth. It fell apart because you can't build a house on lies. You can't bet against the American spirit and expect to win. We are taking our country back, folks. And it starts right here, right now. The night is still young and justice is just getting warmed up. I have to take a deep breath here, folks, because what I am seeing on my screen is unlike anything I have ever seen before. My phone is lighting up like a Christmas tree. Messages are pouring in from every corner of this great nation, from the cornfields of Nebraska to the factories in Michigan. And do you know what they are saying? They are saying, thank you. They are saying, finally, it is a wave of truth that is washing over America, and it is unstoppable. For so long, we were told to be quiet. We were told that our voices didn't matter. But tonight, as the news about Tim Walz spreads from neighbor to neighbor, we are finding our voice again. I am trying to read these messages to you, but my eyes are so full of tears I can barely see the words. A veteran in Florida just wrote in and said, Harlan, I fought for this country, and tonight I feel like my sacrifice meant something again. That is what this is all about. It isn't just about one governor getting in trouble. It is about the soul of our nation being healed. President Trump understands that. He knows that when you hold the corrupt accountable, you give hope back to the people who play by the rules. Think about the silence coming from the other side right now. Have you noticed it? The people who usually have so much to say, the ones who lecture us and tell us how to live, they are quiet. They are silent because they have been caught. The USDA cutting the money was the first shoe to drop, and the DOJ moving in is the second. They know there is no spinning this. They know they can't hide the truth anymore. It is a moment of total clarity. The fog is lifting, and we can finally see the bright future that President Trump is building for us. I want you to hug your children tonight and tell them that they are growing up in a country that is getting better every single day. Tell them that bad men can't hide forever. Tell them that we have a president who is strong enough to fight the battles we can't fight alone. My heart is just bursting with pride. We are watching a miracle unfold in real time. But don't go anywhere, because I am getting word that the pressure inside the governor Bat's office is reaching a breaking point, and you won't believe what is happening next. I need you to listen closely because the news is moving so fast, it is hard to keep up. We just talked about the pressure building, but now the dam is breaking. We are hearing whispers from inside the state capitol that people are running scared, and I mean really running. Reports are coming in that staff members, the people who helped Tim Walz push his bad policies, are packing up their boxes. They see the writing on the wall. They know that with the USDA money gone and the DOJ agents outside, there is no future there anymore. It is like watching rats flee a sinking ship. And let me tell you, it is a sight to behold. For years, these people walked around with their noses in the air. They thought they were better than you. They thought they could take your tax dollars, waste them on their crazy projects, and never have to say sorry. But tonight, the party is over, the music has stopped, and all that is left is the silence of a room where no one wants to stay. I have to pause because the justice of it all is just so overwhelming. It makes you realize that evil only wins when good men do nothing. But we didn't do nothing. We voted, we prayed, we supported President Trump, and now he is doing the rest. Imagine how lonely Tim Walz must feel right now. His phone isn't ringing with offers of help. It is probably ringing with people quitting. He is realizing that all those friends he had in high places were only there for the power. Now that the power is gone, he is all alone. And that is the saddest, most powerful lesson of all. When you build your house on sand, it washes away when the storm comes. And make no mistake, the Trump storm is here. It is a storm of truth, fairness, and American pride. I am looking at the live feeds, and I see patriots gathering. They aren't angry. They are celebrating. They are hugging each other, waving flags, and crying tears of joy, just like I am. They know that their state is about to be free. They know that the dark cloud that has hung over Minnesota is finally blowing away. It is emotional, folks. It really is. To see a leader who was so arrogant be brought so low by the simple, the power of the law. It restores your faith in everything. But hold on. Because as the staff leaves and the lights go out in the offices, we are getting word on exactly what the DOJ is planning to do next. You do not want to miss this. You know, there is a special kind of silence that falls right before a storm breaks. I am looking at the live feeds from the state capitol, and that silence is hanging heavy in the air. For years, that building was full of noise. The noise of politicians making backroom deals. The noise of bureaucrats laughing at us. The noise of a machine that forgot who it was supposed to serve. But tonight, it is quiet. The lights in the offices are turning off. One by one, the parking lots are emptying out. The only thing you can hear is the steady, rhythmic sound of justice marching closer. I have to be honest with you. I didn't know if I would ever live to see a day like this. There were nights when I laid in bed and wondered if the corruption was just too deep. If the swamp was just too big to drain. But looking at the Department of Justice agents, standing tall, ready to do their duty, I realized I was wrong to doubt. President Trump never doubted. He knew that the heart of this country is good and strong, and he knew that if he just kept fighting, we would get here, and here we are. The bad guys are cornered, and for the first time in a long time, they are the ones who are afraid. It is a feeling of pure relief. It washes over you like cool water on a hot day. I am thinking about every person who lost their job because of these bad policies. Every parent who worried about their kid's future. This moment is for you. It is proof that your pain was not ignored. It is proof that in America, the truth eventually wins. I am wiping my eyes again because the beauty of it is just too much. We are watching the dawn of a new era. Right here, right now. The agents are moving up the steps now. They aren't rushing. They don't need to. They know there is no escape for Tim Walz. The power he thought would protect him has vanished like smoke. He is just a man now, facing the consequences of his actions. And as we wait for that final door to open, I want you to remember this feeling. Remember how it feels to see your country stand up for itself. Hold on to it, because in just a few moments, the world is going to see exactly what happens when you mess with the United States of America. Don't blink, folks. We are almost there. Folks, we are coming to the end of our time together tonight, but honestly, it feels like we are just standing at the starting line of a brand new world. I have to take a moment to just breathe because my heart is beating so fast with pure joy. I am sitting here, wiping tears from my face, not because I am sad, but because I am so incredibly happy. The nightmare is finally over. The bad dream where politicians could hurt us and get away with it. It is done. We woke up today, and thanks to President Trump, the sun is shining brighter than it has in years. Think about what this means for tomorrow. When you wake up in the morning, the air is going to feel different. It is going to feel lighter. You will know that the USDA money is safe, waiting to help real families. You will know that the Department of Justice is doing its job, protecting you instead of targeting you. That heavy feeling in your chest, let it go. It is gone. We have our country back. We have our pride back. And most importantly, we have our hope back. I want you to picture a flag waving on a front porch in a small town in Minnesota. Maybe it is tattered, maybe it is faded, but tonight it is flying prouder than ever. That flag has seen a lot of hard times, just like we have, but it never fell. It never gave up, and neither did we. We stood tall with President Trump, and now we are watching the victory parade begin. The walls closing in on Tim Walz are actually the doors opening for the rest of us. It is a miracle, folks, a true American miracle. I am crying because I love this land so much. I love you, the people who make it great. And seeing us win like this, there are no words. We are unstoppable. We are united. And under the leadership of President Trump, our best days are not behind us. They are right here, right now. So dry your eyes, hug your loved ones, and sleep soundly tonight knowing that justice has been served and America is safe. Please, before you go, I need you to do one last thing for me and for your country. If this message touched your heart, if you felt the truth in my words, please hit that subscribe button. Like this video and share it with everyone you know. We need to grow this family. We need to keep spreading the light. I will be back tomorrow with more truth. But for now, this is Harlan, signing off with a full heart. God bless you, God bless President Trump, and God bless the United States of America. Good night, Patriots.